This is 1.
So how are we doing? Easy? Hard?
Hard.
Hard, right? Wise man once told me, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. Yeah, that's why you're doing it, because it's not easy.
Anybody else need more time? Can finish it later. So, in the class here, we're talking about 70% of the rocket fuel is spent in liftoff, just getting off the ground, just going against gravity. 70% of the fuel to fly the ship to the moon is just in takeoff. So you all, congratulations, you all did the heavy lifting. This is the hardest, most difficult part, just to get the thoughts and your intentions on paper and to start the process. And once you start it, so you just had the rocket ship take off, now just start doing the executing on it day by day, and then your rocket ship will go farther and faster, much easier.
On the bottom of the screen it says, what's the one thing that you can do such that by doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary? That's a focusing question. That's a question you kind of want to ask yourself every day. What's the one thing? I'm not sure if you guys have read the book. For those who haven't, they have a study whereby they took a domino, and it says a domino can knock over 50% greater of a domino next to it. And it says after the 8th one, it can get knocked over the Eiffel Tower, and after the 32nd, it can go to the moon. That's how powerful the domino effect is. It's exponential, right? The next thing you do is even going to be bigger. Well, if you look at our world, that's exactly what's happened, right? Every year, we just got bigger and bigger and better because we kept moving forward on what our goals were and how do we get there? What are those steps? And that's why it's really important to have clarity on your someday goals, then clarity on your 5-year goals, 1-year goals, all the way to your GPS, down to your 411. Now what we're going to do is you're going to take your 411 and we're going to put it into, is this where we're putting it? Oh wait, before we get there, just one more slide. So the 3 steps to extraordinary results is identifying your one thing. What's the one thing that you must do? Time blocking it, and more importantly, protecting it. See, a lot of people go through this time blocking, but they really never follow it, right? They don't live their life through their calendar. They're not diligent on making sure that everything that's there actually gets done. What happens is life shows up and we get distracted, right? Things happen out of the blue that you can't control that distract you. So how do we protect it? How do we protect that time block? So one thing is, as somebody mentioned earlier, one thing is lead generation, right? What gets in the way of lead generation? Anybody throw out an idea? What gets in the way? Transactions. What else?
Sprouses. Everyday life.
Everyday life, right?
Drunk monkeys.
Right. So how do we not allow that to happen? How do we not allow that to happen?
Or make it a priority.
Yeah, right. Well, in the book, he talks about building a bunker. Building a bunker, meaning you're going into a bunker. If you're going to war, you're building a bunker around you to protect you, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing in protecting your time. Right? So if you're on your computer and everything comes up on a Facebook post or an email, that's all distractions, right? Mm-hmm. Don't look at it. Don't even turn it on. Right? Stay away from it. In my world, I actually moved from my office to my house office. So I have a stand-up desk. I don't have a chair. I stand up for 2 hours, right? Because I have to stay focused. Got my headset on, and I'm looking at 2 screens. I got one screen on my calendar, one screen on command. I'm thinking, who do I need to call to make sure that I generate a lead, right? That's my world. I do that for 1 to 2 hours every day, and weird things show up, like listings, weird things. Funny how that works, right? Right? I started this after I came back from Gary's mastermind, I think in May, and I looked at my calendar and I kind of started shaking in my pants. I looked like, holy smokes, this year, 2019, I added all the days I was not working on my business on Oahu. It was 85 days. That's 24% of the year I'm not here. Like, how do I grow a business and not be here? I gotta be highly intentional. So I said, okay, Dan, you gotta get your stuff together, right? And so I said, you know what? I'm just gonna lock myself up, and I'm not gonna talk to anybody. There's no meetings during this time. This is what I'm gonna do. And I did it, and our business started growing, right? Listings started showing up, right, Khalil? Khalil is the guy that, so he and I are partners. I get the listing. We have a listing manager that gets it ready for sale. He takes it from the offers to closing. And his role allows me to go get more business. See, if I did his job and my job, I wouldn't be able to scale the business as much. So he's second generation, actually. My other business partner, many of you have met him, Kent. We started this model, actually when we came to Keller Williams, right? 6 years ago? We started that model 6 years ago because we saw that somewhere else in the country. We said, actually, it was Julie's idea, right? Julie or Kent's idea. So
She's in Gary's group. She's
Yeah.
in Gary's group. They help.
So they did that and go, huh, maybe that's the way to scale the business. So we did. And then Kent was going to retire. And 2 years ago we said, okay, you're not retiring until we figure this out. So we planned ahead. We had a plan. We said, we need to go find talent. God blessed us with Kaleo. He came in through, actually we had met somebody else at a golf tournament. I asked him a question. He said, he brought his name up. We interviewed him. He showed up. It's like, okay, this could be a good thing for the organization. Find out it was an amazing thing for the organization. He's now a leader, right? And you see him today. And feel free to pick his brain because he's super smart. But yeah, that whole process took time, but we had a plan. We blocked it out. And I can tell you, it works. But what do they say? Time fills all the, what is it? Time allowed, what is it? What's the bold law? Work fills all the time allowed?
Work expands
Work
to the
expands,
time
thank
allowed.
you. Work expands to the time allowed. So don't allow yourself so much time. That's the trick. Don't allow yourself. So now in my world, my goal, I told my assistant, well, actually it's Julie's assistant, I'm borrowing it. I don't have one right now. I'm only gonna work from 8 to 5, at best. Now, there's gonna be exceptions, right? I gotta have client meetings after, but those are anything that generates money, I'm gonna probably do that. Right? But generally speaking, I wanna shrink down. Before, my world used to be, before coming to Keller Williams, I worked 24/7. Guess what? I told everybody that, so guess what? I worked 24/7. I hated life, right? I couldn't do the things I wanted to do in the world because I allowed that to happen. So in your mind, you have to put boundaries, right? Okay.
How imperative is it? I mean, are you just at 8 o'clock? I hit the phones. I mean, is that?
I wish I was that
imperative?
good.
So you can be flexible with the time
I
in
wish I
terms
was
of
that
the
good.
block.
Yeah, I should be. I really should.
Well, for me, I love surfing, and that's what keeps me healthy and joyful. And the exercise is a side effect. But I do that early in the morning because that's when I get to my peak, and then that supercharges me throughout the day. And so now I'm looking at 8 o'clock is when everybody's telling you should be hitting your phones after your personal
time's the
reflection and
sunrise?
views. What's that?
What time's the sunrise?
It varies, right? So summertime's different. I can be out there by 5:15.
Worst case,
let's
by
say.
the way, we're gonna hit the shortest day of the year in about 3 days.
Yeah.
Right?
So worst case, about 7 o'clock is the earliest I could hit the water in the winter time.
No, you can get there at 6:45.
I
He knows
can.
by experience. He does it every
Right?
I do it every
Surf
day.
too, yeah.
I do it every day.
Yeah,
I watch sunrise and sunsets every day.
that's what I love.
Because where I live, I never used to go down to the beach because I have to go down and find parking and stuff. So I solved that problem. I bought myself a moped. So now from my door to where I surf is 6 minutes. It takes me 7 minutes to paddle out.
Okay. So you got a
That's
lot of time.
13 minutes,
Yep.
right? So as long as I leave a half an hour, I got an extra buffer room. So if I have to be at home, which I don't like anything starting before 8 anymore. They used to book my appointments at 6 and 7. I don't let that happen. But if I have to do a coaching call or something at 8, or I have a meeting at 8, that means I leave my water at 7:30. I get 45 minutes in.
It's enough to.
It's enough to get you going. Right? It's enough to get you going. So again, I look at the detail. Yeah.
Also remember, when you're talking about your one thing, you're defining your one thing in all 7 areas. So in other words, if your one thing is your health, then your surf goes on your time block and you protect it the same way you do your lead generation.
Yes.
That is the first thing you're meant to time block is your personal time, your vacations.
That's what fuels it all, right?
Absolutely, because what's the reason of creating an awesome business? To fund a perfect life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for the validation.
Yeah, no.
It's okay, you can do that.
I can't wait till the days get longer. Right? I'll have more time.
I live to surf and I work for money. I mean, that's what my life
Well,
is.
the money funds
So
the
we have a
life.
new assistant, and so she asked me, she said, Dan has these board meetings every day. What is this board meeting?
It's in my calendar.
And it's blocked
You can
off.
put Legion in there too, though, right? Top story with the
Well,
products out there.
But everything is in my calendar. Well, actually, I got multi-million-dollar deals from the water.
I'm sure.
Many of our clients came from the water. But everything doesn't matter equally. It doesn't matter equal. And that's the thing, most people get confused. They see the to-do list and they focus on a to-do list, and a to-do list doesn't have priorities. Everything matters equally. And so if you're running your life out of a to-do list, I say, stop it! Don't do it! Prioritize your one thing. Stay focused on what matters most at the moment. And just do it. Personal things, that's why it's in my calendar to serve everybody.
Thank you.
Put it in there. Okay. And so I think later on, I think we're going to look at my calendar on the next couple of slides. Okay. The other questions to ask yourself is, are you following the path to mastery? What does that look like? How many hours does it take to get to mastery? 10,000.
10,000.
It takes 10,000 hours to get to mastery. Now, Kaleo has been doing this chief negotiation job for 2 years. He's done about 180 transactions, maybe 150 transactions. I'd say he got to mastery. He's done 10,000 hours. Right? What does it take to get there? Right? And everything in your world, Gary always talks about how do you master what you want to accomplish. We can't do it part-time, like surfing. Like, you know, I have one child, he's on a path to mastery. He surfs every day. And I have one that only surfs 3 or 4 days a week. He's, you know, not the same path to mastery. It's different. Right? So your path to mastery can be in every 7 areas of your life. Your spiritual world, your health, right? Your personal relationships, all of that is our path to mastery. So the question for ourselves is, am I on the path to mastery? And if I'm not, how do I get there? What do I need to change in my world today to get to the path to mastery? Right? And then, are you really honoring your time block? Now, when you put a time block in your calendar, who's that for?
Us. Yourself.
Yourself. Why are we shortchanging ourselves? Our own life. Why do we do that? Right? We have to honor your time block if you want to hit your goal. Right? We saw it said earlier, think big and go small, and trust that the dominoes will fall. You got to have some faith. Right? Fear or faith, you cannot both. Trust that the system's going to work. One at a time. It's gonna happen. It may not happen as quickly as you think, right? But it will happen.
I just wanted to say, I think that a lot of people look at a time block as taking away their freedom. And I actually very much view my time blocking as allowing me to be free. Because when I go to my personal time blocks and I'm taking my personal time and I have done my business work, I gotta tell you, I feel so much better in that time period. And it gives me a true freedom feeling versus if I didn't honor my time blocks of what I needed to be doing or didn't have any time blocks. Then when I get to my personal time, there's all that like, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, then there's a guilt around
Yes.
taking that time block. So when I feel like time blocks give me freedom.
Yes, it
They
does.
really do.
And you have to time block everything. Everything. Personal, everything, work, everything has to go in your calendar, and you gotta follow it. Just gotta follow it. My world's pretty crazy, as you can imagine, and the most common question is, how do you have time to do all this? I said, I'm gonna look at my calendar. It's there, it shows up. That's how you get things done, right? It just shows up. Here's an example of my calendar. So I do a color coding system. Green makes me money. Everything that makes me money is green. So at a glance, if I look at it, like, man, I always look 2 weeks out, right? So, do you see much white space here? Not a lot of white space, right? No, not a lot. In fact, this is an old one. This is, I don't even know what month this is. This is a couple weeks ago, I guess. They changed it to put time block for appointments, because as you can see, I'm running all day, every day. They even had to put drive time, because they found, like, I'm in Kaka'ako for a meeting at 10:30, and 10:30, it ends at 10:30, and I gotta be in another meeting at 10:30 and call. I was like, I don't have that time machine yet. You gotta give me time to get there, right? You gotta give me time to get there. The other problem is they don't give me time to eat. So I gotta eat in the car. Basically, I gotta eat in the car. But you notice, not that much passes 5. But look how much I can get done in one day. Look at all the appointments, all the money generating appointments I can get done in one day. This is a real calendar of mine. So when I look a week to 2 weeks out, I'm looking, man, I don't have enough green here. I gotta get on the phone. I gotta make it rain. That's my job. I gotta get more green in there. They also started doing something that's not in this calendar. They actually block out times for appointments. Random things that show up, right? People say, I need to meet you. Then my assistant can now go to this orange, it's actually orange, of what times are available. Right? Does that make sense? What do you guys think of that?
It's good.
Can you do this?
Yep.
Good, because you can do it now. Get your phones out. Get your phones out. Take a look at your 411. Now we're going to spend some time making it happen. You're going to time block. Now, some of these are reoccurring. Like, I had daily calls here, but I said, the master coach said that was a reoccurring. I have coaching calls that are reoccurring. Listing meetings are reoccurring, that type of thing. So you're going to have some that are reoccurring. If you're not as busy, then your lead generation should be reoccurring every day. It's cool, the phone now, you can actually hit the button that says reoccurring. It shows up every day, or Monday through Friday, whatever you want to do. If you set open houses, that's reoccurring, because it happens. Funny, we have a Sunday every week, right? So let's take a look at your 411, and now let's put your 411 in your calendar on your phone.
I don't know how to do that.
Sure, I can help you. You got your calendar? Okay, what do you want to put in first? What's your one thing?
What's my one thing that I need to do?
Yes.
That would
By
be,
doing it, everything else is easier or unnecessary.
I need to exercise.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
When would you like to do that?
I like to do it. It's different every day, but
Why would it be different every day?
because some days I go to a spa and work, and on my way back in the evening is when I would do that.
Are they set days of the week?
Yes.
Okay, what days are they? Just pick one.
Okay, Fridays,
Okay.
normally, Saturday.
So, yeah, what time is that on Friday?
That I would go to work or go
Whatever,
to
do
go
what
to
you want to do.
exercise.
Yeah.
I could probably get there by 6 p.m.
Okay, but on Friday you went to church on?
Yeah,
Okay, so how do you do that?
that's tonight. That's not gonna work.
Right,
So that's not gonna work.
let's just pick Monday.
Okay.
Let's go to Monday.
Okay.
It's coming Monday.
Okay. Monday's the 16th. Okay. Okay, that would be a morning. I could exercise in the morning.
What time is that?
I could be there by 8.
Okay, 8. Put it right in to you.
Oh, on the line? Okay, there, that's up. Okay.
Type in what you want.
Okay.
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 And then, let's see, you wanted to repeat, so how long is it from 7:30 to 8:30? Or is it, you want to change the
No,
time?
yeah,
That's the time there?
okay.
Change the
Okay.
time, 8.
Okay.
Slide that up. There you go.
Okay, we'll make 8:30
Okay.
to 9:30.
Oh, wait, so it ends when? 9:30?
Yep.
Okay, you want to add that.
Okay,
So now you got YMCA swim.
okay.
Now, do you want that reoccurring every Friday?
Yeah, how about every
Edit it?
Monday, Tuesday,
Yeah. So you want
Wednesday,
to repeat
Thursday? Yeah.
Every week?
Every week is good.
And now, if you go on your calendar, every Monday at 8:30, 9:30,
Mhm.
that's what you do.
Okay,
Then go to the next day that you want to do, or the
okay,
next item.
okay,
See
okay,
that?
great. Thank you. So, okay, I see it, okay.
You're going to be highly productive by the time you leave here today.
Well, no, what you want to do is you want to go like this, and then you want to type. So like for me, I had call my database, and I put in when I was gonna do it. So, okay, so you're gonna put, let's just say, call database, or whatever you want to
Right.
say.
I have no idea why it's in.
And then location, I say, home or office. You would try to put your address or. Okay, that's a home.
I'd say, oh, good, and then done, let's say that. And then I gotta, put
Starts, it starts.
hit start, and we want to change that, I want to do that. Switch to today, or Friday,
Yeah.
let's do today. We have to do that, I have to do that
Okay.
in the morning, let's see, 7 a.m.
Okay. And then now you're gonna get.
Yeah, you still time blocking or are you now texting?
So, to take it to the next level, for those of you who are pretty good at your calendar, in your calendar, Google is really cool because actually in command, you can actually go straight to your calendar.
What
Number one.
add,
From command, your task will go directly to your Google
so
calendar.
that way it looks like that.
Directly.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
4 to 5.
You just put a task, you go to opportunities, you put all your clients in there, your opportunities.
Right.
Where you say, oh, I gotta call Joe at 9:30 to talk about his listing. You put it as a task, it populates your phone.
So it's only for opportunity tasks,
Okay, so
not,
now you're gonna get-
No, it's
you
for,
have to title
I think it's for all tasks, for contact tasks as well.
okay, because my tasks aren't coming through.
I don't think it's turned on for our market center yet. Is that turned on by market center? Because I tried to use the calendar the other day and it wouldn't come up on ours.
Yeah, mine's not transferring
Yeah, I
tasks
think
to
it's
my
market center by
calendar.
market center.
Maybe.
Well, it is,
But let's say, okay, let's
let's say that.
take a command conversation. So what you can do is, you can invite people, right? So for me, I invite people to the meeting. I also always put the address and phone number of the person I'm gonna meet. So when I'm driving, all I have to do is touch the address, Waze gets me there, because it's connected from my phone to Waze. I don't have to type in anything, right? Then I also always put a goal. So anytime you meet with me, I'm going to start the conversation is, at the end of our hour today, because I'm going to let you know you only got an hour, at the end of your hour today, what would you like to get accomplished? What would you like to get accomplished? See, if we don't have clarity to why we're meeting, you'll just sit there and talk for hours. And trust me, I've done this for 14 years. I've been talking for hours. And then things would get too long. But if now I have to put people on notice. Like within our hour today, or 30 minutes today, what would you like to get accomplished? So one, I'm being clear with them, clarity is power. By the way, that's our saying this year for 2020, clarity is power. Right? What would you like to get accomplished today? And you get them stopped in deer in the headlights, like, what do you mean? Yeah, really, we're not here to chit chat. We're gonna help you get to your goal. I'm a servant, I'm gonna help you get to your goal. I can't do that unless I'm clear with what you want to accomplish.
So the question is, what is the goal?
What would you like to get accomplished today within our time together? And be specific on how long that time is. And then what I do is, my assistant, she puts the goal in here. So I already know what the goal is, I just want them to tell me. I know what my goal is. I want to make sure we're on the same alignment. If I'm saying, oh, if my goal is to get the listing signed, I said, no, I'm just kind of curious, I want to get to know you. It's like, that's not what my goal is. Okay. So if somebody tells me that, how do you know if you've been successful? And gets them to stop and think again. Right? So I'm getting them to think through why we're getting together. I'm busy, and I want to help you. Right? I really want to help you. In order for me to help you, I need to understand what your goal is. And then they confirm the appointment, and the person who confirms it puts it in here too. Okay, so everything's in my phone. I don't have to really do much. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on the calendar? Everybody good? Raise your hand if you've put things that are important to you in your world, your one thing in your calendar.
Today I did.
Okay, good. So here's what you have to do though. The one thing doesn't happen only one day, does it? Right. It has to repeat itself. Make sure it does. Make sure it does. Live your life out of your calendar, your world's going to change. Be intentful with your time, your world's going to change. I tell people, after today's gone, there's no get backs. You can't get back today, right? It's gone. So if you want to be intentful with your world to reach your someday goal, you have to be highly intentional. Gary Keller is the most highly intentional guy around. You know why he wears black all the time?
Easy.
He doesn't have to think. It's one thing he just took out of his world. There is no thought process. Some of the other persuasion, they like to spend time to figure this out. Right? but you know, he's just highly intentional, right, with his world, and that's why I really feel honored to be spending time with him. Okay, some tips here. No ifs, no ands, and no buts. Because that's what we always tell ourselves. If this happened, then I'll do it. If this,
Yeah.
right. Oh, and this has to show up, right? Oh, but this happened, that's why I couldn't do it. No if, no ands, no buts.
And no TRY,
Yeah,
the battle cry of the week.
that's right. That's right. And commit to yourself, I will do my one thing. That has to be a commitment, internal commitment to yourself. I will do my one thing. And once you create habits around your one thing, then the dominoes are going to fall. You're going to start seeing them fall, right? In time, they will start to fall. And it starts with trusting that they are going to fall. So let's start the journey to building the habits that are going to serve you well. The other thing that I heard once that really hit me is, do something today that your future self will thank you for. What will your future self thank you for today? Do something today that your future self will thank you for. And it's usually not easy. And it's usually really hard. Right? But that's how we go to success. Right?
So something that's not on here is accountability. You wanna speak to that?
Yeah, you know, I thought I knew what accountability was. So we spent, this is the one trip that we spent 5 days with Gary Keller in the top mastermind group. We rewrote the book. The MRA book, we rewrote it. 5 days it took us, 100 people in a room for 5 days. We took all the economic model, all the different models, we ripped the book apart, and we mastermind all day, 8 hours a day, to rewrite the MRA book. Right.
So when is that new book going to be published?
Probably not for a while. You'll know it when you see it. Is what Gary said. He brought in another publisher to help also, editor. They were hoping for February, but I doubt if it's going to show up. A lot of it's already coming out. I mean, we have a lot of it already. The models are changed a little. Most of it's the same. It's really more about growth and expansion, the larger teams, right? So we spent a whole week with him, and we're just like on fire, right? All of us are on fire, just so stoked to go back and build our businesses. And so that night, my plane got delayed, so I missed it. So I stayed with my other friend who lives in Austin. So 3 of us were in his house, well, obviously, 2, myself, one of our friends, Michael Perna, and another one of our friends who lives in Austin. So we're at his house. We had dinner. We had a nice dinner. We're having a couple glasses of wine. So my friend comes to Mike, says to me, he says, "Dan, you want me to hold you accountable? What do you want to get accomplished this time?" He said, "Well, I want to write a GPS for all my businesses." I said, "Okay. Do you want me to hold you accountable?" He said, "Yeah, sure." Like, I don't know what that really means, right? I said, "Yeah, sure." So then he goes, "Okay." So he says, "Hey, Ricky, go get a piece of paper for me and a pen." So he gets a piece of paper, he gives me the piece of paper and a pen. He says, "Write exactly what I tell you." Now, one of the things you have to realize about me is that's like Disneyland for me. When I go to spend time with the top agents in the world, that's like, it doesn't get better than this. It doesn't. This is how I grow. This is where my mind, everything grows because of it, right? And so that's like super important to me. So he says, "Write this down." He says, "Dear Gary," so who am I writing this to? What do you think you're writing this to? Right? Gary Keller. I said, "Okay. Dear Gary, I apologize for not